Howdy, this is LiveStrider. Well, overall, 2017's been a rough year for the movie industry. We've had some real special cinematic successes. But boy oh boy, I could have made this a top 20 list. There were just too many lousy movies to choose from. So I've tried to concentrate this list down to the top 5 worst movies of 2017. Pardon me if I've missed a particularly bad one. There was a lot of movies to choose from this year. And of course, if you did like these movies, that's great. It's just my silly personal opinion, and I respect your opinion on it. Anyway, on to the countdown. Number 5. Spock, A Space Tale. Behold, the definition of generic. I mean, just try listening to the first 3 seconds of the trailer without rolling your eyes.
There was a time when our kingdom was perfect. Then, the ultimate evil invaded our world. Emperor Zong.
The teenage boy Spock wants to see that there's more out there for him, somewhere.
There's gotta be more out there for me.
And goes on a space adventure. I swear I've seen this story before 1,000 times. So the story is Vix and Chunk lead insurgency missions against the evil General Zong. The young Spock takes a mission, tames the Kraken, and rallies survivors from the wormhole against the evil General Zong. The funny part is this actually sounds like a kind of interesting story. I mean, space rebellions, mythical space beasts? It's just implemented with no finesse. I just found it so hard to connect with Spock and engage in his story because he's so predictable.
Duh! To the Kraken! Hey, guys! Royal Plumber here. Yep, those pipes are gonna have to be replaced. I think Zong's not getting enough fiber.
He never shares any real emotion, fear, or vulnerability with the viewer, thus giving him the depth of a puddle. The CG unfortunately has that plasticine and bland feel to it. While we do set a high bar in cinema for CG nowadays, I really believe if animators stylize their animation, we won't notice the strange imperfections or unnatural look of the CG as much, even if it's low budget. Unfortunately, Spock doesn't feel stylized at all, it just feels generic. Spock sits on what I call the demographic dead zone, a zone where the movie has become too childish for adults and too adult for children, fitting into neither category. There's occasionally some clever lines, and I feel like this movie had so much potential.
Why is he acting like this?
Well, he's undergoing major myelination and synaptic pruning in the orbital frontal cortex and excitatory neurotransmitters, all of which have massive implications on risk-taking and vulnerability to boredom.
What?
He's a teenager.
But sadly, the clever lines are few and far between. That being said, I hope the creators keep experimenting, because we need more studios outside of Disney and DreamWorks throwing their hat into the animated movies ring. And for number 4, A Bad Mum's Christmas.
Let's put the ass back in Christmas.
What's this? A sequel to a raunchy comedy just in time for Christmas? Yeah, why not? This time, A Bad Mum's mum is coming to throw a party. While I admit I wasn't a massive fan of the original, I could still see it was offering a wild and free-spirited escape to a demographic that frankly deserved an escape in modern theaters. Mums. But this movie isn't even wild or free-spirited, it's just calculated raunchiness. The sad part is that I actually like these actors. We've got the voice of Anna from Frozen here, who sings like an angel. And most of the other ladies have played relatively charming roles in past movies. They're a talented cast. Sadly, this talented cast is forced to work with a bunch of mother-daughter setup cliches, tired 90s sitcom setups, over-obnoxious behavior, and dancing Santa stripteasers. Everyone's dialogue is so desperately trying to shove dirty down our throat that we can't go a single sentence without some sort of pointless shoehorn profanity in it. The sad part is, the writing is so poor that we could have watched these actors just improvise for 90 minutes on Whose Line Is It Anyway, and it would have been far more funny, insightful, relatable, and entertaining. Even for a Bad Mums fan, I really don't think this sequel is worth your time. And the third worst movie of 2017 is 50 Shades Darker. Just a note, I'll be implying certain things rather than saying them to avoid getting flagged here. Because for some reason YouTube thinks violence and evil and death is okay, but God forbid if we discuss sex. No, rather than discussing and exploring sex, let's just let them discover it on their own on the internet. That's the healthy way to go. While 50 Shades Darker was meant to bring a little bit of kink into popular cinema, it has all the kink of an Amish wedding and all the charm and emotion of a Twilight film.
Could you please transfer $24,000 into the account of Miss Anastasia Steele?
No, what are you doing?
Anastasia and Christian have such wooden chemistry that I suspect Katy Perry or Brad Pitt body pillows would have served as more emotionally gripping soulmates. Christian's the dark, tortured soul, while Anastasia submits to every idea he has because, I guess, she wasn't written very well. And any kinky scenes are just lifeless and awkward. I mean, if you want kinky, check out Quagmire. Regardless of the standard of modern Family Guy nowadays, Quagmire remains a man who is very comfortable with exploring his love life. This is a man who has every paraphilia under the sun. How a cartoon sitcom is 1,000 times more versatile in exploration of love life than a $55 million movie is beyond me. And even when I wasn't squirming in discomfort at these forced, cringeworthy love scenes, the rest of the movie we have to watch these two mope about, deciding if they're comfortable with each other or not. When the audience can clearly see within 2 seconds of interaction, they're not. I mean, seriously, these two have no chemistry. It is so forced, it hurts. Any low-budget Brazilian porno in the world would have more convincing characters than 50 Shades Darker. At least some of the time we actually believe they're enjoying it. Isn't love meant to be a fun activity? Because these two clearly aren't having any fun. If you're not having fun or enjoying yourself during this particular adult activity, then something is clearly wrong. And the second worst movie of 2017's Transformers: The Last Night. The amazing part is, even after I sat through another 2.5 hours of exploding flashes, endless shaky cam, cliched dialogue, and the ultimate test of human patience and sensory overload that is the Transformers franchise, my review didn't change that much. It's just another assault on our senses that all of us have to tolerate the advertising for yet again. As usual, I've heard more profound dialogue written on the back of cereal boxes.
My master is fond of saying that all the important decisions in life often come down to just one moment.
No weird night robot thing. Your master is a moron. The important decisions in life are constant and come down to every tiny character-building decision you make. And am I the only one thinking these mechs are getting more hideous with every passing movie? By the 10th movie, they're just going to be giant robotic turds on feet. And the shaky cam. Jeebus the shaky cam. What is the point of using a shaky cam in a still dialogue shot? What's even the point? Except to annoy the viewer. Moving the camera around like this does not make it more realistic. It's like we're dealing with a child director. I freaking hate these movies. Anyway, it's a Transformers movie. It's another random mishmash of paper-thin plots, explosions, and flashes, with all the artistic grace of an angry gorilla. And the sad part is, nothing I say, Doug says, James says, or any other critic says can do anything to stop this monster. Like Katy Perry's singing career, it doesn't matter now if they just produce a random nonsensical string of consciousness with a massive ego encapsulating the whole thing. Because the movies have so much recognizability and momentum now that it doesn't matter if the movie's just repeatedly kicking its viewers in the shins. At least Adam Sandler experiments a little bit and tries some variety. Bay just slaps the same thing together over and over, knowing that without fail, even if every critic on the planet despises what he makes, he'll still end up making another movie with twice the profits he started with. Like every other critic, I hope that someday people wake up and stop seeing these movies. But I actually have good news. People are. This Transformers movie experienced the lowest opening day out of all the Transformers movies in the last 10 years. I mean, admittedly, China still laps this garbage up like rats on a cheesecake. But even their numbers haven't quite pulled Last Night to the quota Paramount Pictures has for the film. And given these massive wastes of human energy take over $200 million to make, and ridiculous amounts more to advertise, that means they'll eventually become unprofitable. And comfortably, the #1 worst movie of 2017 is The Emoji Movie. We all knew it'd be #1, but there really is nothing else that can go here except Sony's deformed, puerile shareholder crime against nature. For the 2 people out there who have somehow managed to remain blissfully unaware, in this movie we experience the world of Textopolis, with Jean, a meh emoticon. But let's face it, everyone knew this would be #1, because it's such an abysmal defacing of art, sincerity, and a filmmaker's effort to convey a message to the audience, eclipsing even Transformers with its mindless corporate evil. As I've said, Sony deserves all the bad publicity they've received this movie, and more. And the $1 less we give to Sony for making this movie, the better a place the world will be. I heard a very apt statement made about this movie, and I quote, "It's unclear whether this animated comedy is simply a bad movie, or a postmodern commentary on cynicism in Hollywood, and a scathing indictment of an industry which is willing to pour $50 million into a humorless farce, with no redeeming qualities beyond the merciless mocking of its very premise." You could almost take the Emoji Movie as a commentary and a warning to us of the potential dangers of the postmodern film era.
The air is better here.
And I think that's the most constructive way to take this thing. As a warning to us all, don't let these movies become the norm.
How does he know so many people?
None of these people know him, but they like him. And that's what matters in this life. Popularity.
This movie is rotten. But in reality, we all know that these movies becoming the norm is unlikely to happen. We've always got Disney steadily bringing us animated artwork like Coco every year. Hell, even Warner Brothers brought us the Lego Batman movie this year, which was great. The new Marvel movies, the new Star Wars movie. Even Miyazaki is managing to sneak some of his anime movies into modern Western theaters, like Your Name. And personally, I'm excited to see the movies that 2018 brings us. But there were a few stinkers this year, so if you feel I missed a particularly bad movie, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.